Welcome. Joining me today is a gentleman who was bestowed with the highest honor by the AAAI, the Lifetime Achievement Award. Vikram Sakhuja, Group CEO of Madison Media and AAAI, has been working his magic with agencies and brands that he has been associated with for the past 40 years. But I have to share, Vikram, despite all that vast experience, my team, when they first heard that AAAI is giving you this Lifetime Achievement Award, their first reaction was, but Vikram Sakhuja is not that old.
Yeah, even I thought I was just getting started.
So tell me, what was your reaction when you got that call, and were you ready to cross over to kind of join the league of the advertising greats like Shashi Sinha, Sam Balsara?
No, I was pretty blown. And look, it's obviously humbling, because all these, I checked on it, there were about 31 sort of lifetime winners before me. And you go through that list, it's a very awesome list. So to be in that pantheon is absolutely humbling. So yeah, it is great. I don't know, I must have done something right to get it, but yes, I'm very, very thankful.
But what was your first reaction when you got that call?
I said, wow, but why? And
okay, and you were the ideal advertising import of the 1980s. I think IIT Delhi, IIM Calcutta. Did you feel back then that you're going to survive four decades in this industry and you will be a prominent name by the end of it?
Okay, I'm going to tell you something which maybe, I don't know how many people know, I kept it to myself. So, look, when I did in IIT, by third year, it was clear to me that I can't do engineering. And especially when I went for I was 5-year engineer, so not the 4 that you have now. So I said, this is not working for me, and I love the humanities courses. But it was after I finished working that I became part of a DCA management trainee, which is like another mini MBA. By that time, I got to know quite clearly that marketing is what I like. So when I went into IIM, I was clearly going in with the idea of doing a marketing career. And I think after that also, you have these people, finance guys, you get slotted. So I was slotted right from the first term onwards as the marketing type. So I would say that I was pretty clear that's where my future is going to be. So I think that clarity was razor sharp at that point in time. And somewhere in the legacy of I'd love it, this was a very private thought I was saying to myself, that somewhere if in my epitaph, if I could write, he's a guy who made a difference to marketing in India, that would be nice. So it was just something which you keep in the back of your mind. In fact, one of the trainings that at Procter, when they said, just whatever it might be, write a career epitaph for yourself. So I did. And since then, somehow these things obviously work, because somewhere in your subconscious it gets buried, but you're at it. So I think, yes. So I'd say, yes, I guess it's just conspired in a certain way. You create a visualization, you call it. So I don't know. So I think it's worked out well.
And back then, we're talking about 4 decades ago, what was that one thing that attracted you about advertising? There must have been that one spark which you thought,
Understand how consumers tick. Why do they buy? That.
And is that spark still alive?
I think so, yeah. So end of the day, I've always defined marketing as getting more consumers to buy more of your brands more often at a higher price. So that is my definition of marketing. It's a demand creation job. So if it's a demand creation job, you got to finally get under the skin. You got to understand all the whatever they call it, those neuro-linguistic models and all that kind of funny things. But point is, you need to understand what exactly it is that motivates people to act the way they do. So you keep asking if that interests you, then you always look for answers. And if you look for answers, one thing leads to another. Yeah, and I still obsess about it.
And another thing is, you've been on both sides, client side and of course on the agency side. What according to you has been more fulfilling?
Look, I think both have been great. The fact that the 3 years of I wouldn't have given me a Lifetime Achievement Award if I was a client, right? So obviously this has. And the reality is that, I think somewhere along the line, if you're functionally strong in a particular area and that's your passion, you should pursue it. And the reality is that in a client organization, the growth marketing stops beyond a certain point for growth out there, because then you get into general management and other things, and marketing is not the be-all end-all. Whereas in agency life, marketing is a very core of the entire service that we offer. We are a marketing services company. So it's, for me, I think that's why I'd say maybe agency life is more fulfilling, because in the long term, you are doing what you, the entire purpose of your organizational or your corporate being is to pursue your passion of marketing. So yes.
Another thing, Vikram, throughout your career, you've stuck to organizations for pretty long tenures, be it Group M before this or Madison. What really inspired that kind of loyalty?
No, I think it's a very key part of, if you want to do well, you must stick it out. I'm very, very clear about that. And it's basically a rolling stone gathers no moss. So if you really want to get the best of what an organization has to offer, you have to experience it in its true sense. 8 years P&G, 5 years Coke, 14 years WPP, and now 9 years Madison. So I think on this one, the overriding thought really has to be, there has to be a pretty good, you should have a bigger reason for why you want to leave an organization rather than joining a new one. You can always find something about a new one, but why is it that you want to leave your current one? There should be a proper issue which is holding you back. I really can't relate when a bunch of, today in our agency, when some very good people leave. They say, why? No, we are having a good time here, but I think my growth is now plateauing here. I want to go somewhere else and learn something new. I just can't relate to that. Now, because somewhere along the line, if you want more growth, of course, is it not available here? No, I'm comfortable here. I'm getting too comfortable. I think that's a problem. If I have to look at if you just look at across the corporate sort of diaspora, you'll find all the people with the most stellar careers, large number of them, overwhelmingly large number of them, have had very long stints in one company. The entire Sudhir Sitapati, CEO of Factory, HUL, look at each one of those professionals. They've been, before they reached whatever the top levels at Lever, and then after that, maybe they weren't getting the CEO job there. So then they moved to another CEO. But they all stuck it out for 20, 25 years in one organization.
Learned everything that they could.
No, you just learn it is the intangibles. If you just keep on moving from one place to another, I can guarantee you that you will not be successful. So yeah, it's a very firm conviction.
And another thing is, in your career, when you started off, there were broad verticals which were predefined: media, creative, client side. Today, if you were to start again, which kind of agency would you join? Would you go back to a media agency? Would you go to something like a content marketing or an influencer or a digital, or so many things that are available right now?
So I would say that, okay, if I have to answer your question directly, I'd say I'd stick to media, because now I think media is offering you a much more rich tapestry to work in. I'm going on a tangent to what, but basically to another part of your question. In Procter & Gamble, they believe in functional specialization. So after my sales training, which all of us went to after we came from IIM, so I was allotted market research. Other people were allotted brand management, so on. Now, at some point in time, they added media because it was all part of a larger marketing services. But because everybody in marketing wants to do brand management, so did I. So I said, I want to now get into brand management. They said, sorry, P&G fundamentally, ideologically believes in functional specialization. Brand management was called advertising in those days. And they said that advertising is a thing, so you can't do a lateral move into advertising. It was that reason why I quit P&G. It was a wonderful organization. But think about it now, because of that functional specialization of whatever I did 8 years ago, both research and media, that is what's held me in good stead 38 years later, and I'm being able to hold my own. And if I'm accorded any respect in media and research, I'm getting a chance to chair a few industry tech comms and all the rest of it. It's all because of the grounding. So there is a certain merit to building your skills at a foundational level and then exploiting it at a later stage, which is where I feel that I think all of them are very exciting, content, creative and media. But I think I've just been so sort of, I've got that entire media gene inside me that I can't now think outside it. So I think I'll stick to media.
And another thing, because now that you've crossed over to the other side, everybody talks about, how the next generation is not as dedicated as they were. हमारे ज़माने में बहुत hardworking थे is a usual adage that people use. In your case, would you say that the generation that came after you was not as hardworking? What is your opinion about the next crop?
Somewhere I think that, look, I always believe that you should work smart rather than work hard.
Mm-hmm.
I see the new generation having the potential and the capability to work way smarter than we did. And that is good. The part which I am not seeing right now is the need for achievement. We used to call it NH. Now, I think the ambition, drive, staying the course, playing a test match rather than a T20.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the part where I have a problem. I don't have a problem with the amount of hours they put in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the answer is so much hard versus, I think I would take smart over hard any day. So I'm sorry to disagree with Mr. Narayan Murthy, but I don't believe in 70-hour days or whatever. We just heard another top honcho talking 7 days a week, and let's not take his name, but I completely disagree with that kind of thinking. I think we must have a life of our own, and I don't think I'm the best ambassador for that because I work with stupid hours. But having said that, I absolutely respect the current generation's ability to work lesser hours and do the same result. The part where I have a slight problem with is their dedication to stay the course,
Mm-hmm.
play the test match and say that this is what I'm going to move it from here to here.
See it through, basically.
Yeah, so I think it's a little transient.
And just one last question. What are the biggest challenges and the biggest opportunities you see for media agencies in 2025?
Challenges is, I think, overcoming the big headwind that we've had second half of 24 in terms of, I would say, at least the ADEX slowdown. So it's a bit inexplicable because macros seem good, but obviously some of the micros are not working well because clients are not really spending that much and pretty much across the board. So I think that is a challenge which we need to overcome. And I think, again, if we have to go with my definition of marketing, the job of marketing is a demand creation job.
Mm-hmm.
If demand is a problem, that's a challenge, right? And that's what agencies like us should be actually seizing up and saying, let's solve this problem. So that's a challenge. I think the other things that we need to be also seized about is how to manage connected TV. I think that's going to become, it's already a pretty big force. Maybe 20% of all TVs are right now, 15-20% of all TV sets are right now maybe connected in terms of watching. In terms of actual hardware, it's more.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's going to increase like mad. So the ability to measure audiences, ratings, all of that in connected TV is completely different, obviously, from the entire BARC-led, people meter-led, the linear TV kind of reading.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether we are that equipped to handle it as of this moment. We're using some stuff which the big tech dishes out. I think it's very, very suboptimal. That needs to increase. The third area which I think we have to also figure out is, I think right through, it's important for accountability in media. Somewhere I feel with digital, it's become already so big and it's already too big to fail.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a little worried about the lack of accountability. I have a in-principle governance problem with a media owner completely deciding what their entire, how many people are watching them, the entire billing, revenues, everything. They only decide, they only give you the bills. I think that's principally wrong. It shouldn't be, because for the longest time ever, we wouldn't even something as revered and respectable and with high governance like Star, would subject themselves to a time monitoring, to just get third-party monitoring to make before they build their spots. Now they can open themselves up to that, and so right now we need the same here. The reality is that we have techniques available, but whether on viewability, whether on in-market audiences, whether on ad fraud, whether on whatever else, all the various things that come in, I don't think it has become that accountable or that third party rather than media owner led, and that worries me, because if one day it implodes, then the collateral damage that will happen will at least, like you had the financial meltdown in 2008, you could have the equivalent of that in media. I worry about that because it's so big now. It's now going to be hitting 50% soon.
Super. Thank you for that in-depth answer, Vikram. And yeah, it's your big day. So congratulations once again.
Thank you.
Looking forward to much more magic coming from you in the coming years as well.
Thanks.